and welcome to today's video. In today's video we are going to be continuing on part 4 of the most extreme declutter ever kitchen edition. So today we're going to be focusing on the cabinets here behind me. We have like the junk kind of miscellaneous drawer here, the cabinet beneath it. There's not much in the cabinet, but I wanted to go through it anyway to be sure. And then I'm going to be moving on down here, which you guys can't see right now, you will see later in the video, is the cabinet above and below the oven. That again, we're kind of today focusing on like miscellaneous areas. Above the oven we have like, you know, greaseproof paper, Ziploc bags, some baking stuff, and then below it is like all the Tupperware, lunch boxes, that kind of thing. Anyway, I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to the channel if you are new, and welcome back if you've been here before. If you have any questions, queries or anything like that about what I'm doing, you can drop them in the comments down below. I want to jump straight into today's video, so without further ado, let's get started. So in today's video, I'm going to be dealing with, as I've mentioned, the junk drawer here. You'll see me popping it out now, and just some, what I'm going to refer to as miscellaneous kind of areas of the kitchen. Now, they're miscellaneous in the fact that they've several different kind of items in them and stuff like that, but they do have like specific purposes, if that makes sense. Like this one here has all the kind of, I suppose, knickknacks you'd find in a kitchen, or maybe you don't, but we do in our house. Batteries, candles, pet brushes, there's rubber bands, laces, there's some command hooks, and you know, the corner stoppers. You'll see them here in a minute. There's the red adhesive there on top. You get them in IKEA, they stop them from corners of like desks and lockers and stuff damaging the doors. So we've that kind of stuff in there, but I just kind of, I've organised this drawer so many times. I've done it on the channel, I've done it off the channel. But the one thing I find is the boxes stay pretty okay, like the stuff stays in the boxes, but as you can see here, it's very messy and there's stuff all over the place. So as you can see here, I got the clear tubs. I bought them, I think it was last year. But I knew that they were going to have a purpose in this drawer, because one of the reasons I bought them was because of the depth of them. Now I've bought, or I suppose you could say the height of them. I've bought in boxes and containers and baskets and whatever you want to call it for this drawer before. And the problem is that the drawer won't close because they're too high, or they're too long to fit into the drawer, or they're the wrong width and nothing else will fit in, and all that kind of stuff. So the kind of logic what I'm working with here is I've got my electronics, I've got cables, I've got batteries, that kind of thing. And you'll see me go throughout as I find cables and stuff, I do pop them in here. And I'm just kind of reshuffling what stuff will go at the back and the front, and trying to imagine and picture where I'm going to put it in the drawer. So one thing with this drawer is a lot of the stuff was overpacked, or it shouldn't have been in there, or it shouldn't have gone, you know, into the particular tub it was in because it didn't fit or whatever. And also another thing was we had a massive amount of excess in this drawer. And another problem is stuff gets dumped in this drawer. So, you know, you've people coming over and they'll be here in 10 minutes. Like, there's my hair clips. Why are they in here? They should be in my room. But what you call her. So as I go through this, you will see more and more the stuff is outside of the baskets, and none of the baskets make any sense. Everything's just, or tubs should I say, everything's just kind of fired in wherever. So, you know, if we'd people coming over and stuff, and you'd have like little bits and, oh, I don't know if I need that receipt or that pen or whatever, and you just fire it in here to get out of it. Like, you can see that the 2 white cables I've just picked up, they're slightly apart there, but they should be up in my room, my electronics bag, because they're for my computer. They only work on my computer, so they need to go upstairs. And then the batteries here, I was going through these and I was thinking, can I transfer them all into one pack, and can I take them out of the cardboard? But of course they're all different types of batteries, and you know. And then the one thing I decided to do was, how about I actually check the dates? And then I discovered that a lot of them were out of date. So you'll see the ones I've just put down there, I take them out of the box later and then I put them back in, because I took them out thinking they'd expired, but it actually turned out I was reading the manufacturing date, which I figured out later. You'll see that towards the end. But one thing I found in here was there was a lot of stuff that I remember bringing downstairs, or maybe bringing to this room, or maybe a different room, or I wasn't sure where I was going to put it and I threw it in there for a minute, or, you know, something like that. So there is quite a few items that I got rid of in here, and I'll try and kind of point them out as we go through, because what I had said I would do was I would give you guys I think I say it at the end, I might not, I can't remember, but I said I'd give you guys a view of what I got rid of at the end. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to get that shot, because just as I was wrapping up filming at the end of this, and I was going to do my last couple of shots of my declutter pile, we'd someone call over. So literally everything was loafed off the table and put away, excuse me, into a bag. Now I have since cleared it, it's all been put away. All the expired batteries are going out into the garage, into the battery recycling. Any rubbish was put in the rubbish, any donations were put in the donation, etc. The bin, trash, garbage, whatever, has been dealt with. So one thing I found is, number one, there are so many hairbrushes in this drawer. There are so many hairbrushes. And I didn't even realise some of these hairbrushes were here. And when I did the bedroom declutter, I kept the hairbrushes that I kept, based on the fact that that was all the hairbrushes I had, not realising that there was 1, 2, 3, I want to say, that I can see there already. So you will see them as we go on. You can see the one on top there. Oh yeah, that one there went out in March 2022. So I'm just showing you that there, because this tin here is, I had originally put new batteries in here, but then I think when my brother was home, he thought that was for like the partially used batteries, so he put them in there. And then the old batteries were on, I thought, went on the counter, but then there was also partially ones gone in there, so it just became a whole mess because nobody knew where anything went. So what I did was, I have actually, no, I don't film this part because I just didn't have time to. But what I do is I got a phase tester, and I've tested every single battery that was in this tin, or was loose in the drawer, or was on the sideboard. You probably saw me at the very start wiping the stuff off the sideboard into the drawer. I think I filmed that. I might not have. If I didn't, I did do that. You probably saw them at the very start beside the microwave. So I phase tested everything. And then in this container here, and I think you'll see it at the very end, you see all these batteries here are in packaging on the left of the screen here. Well, I've actually put all of the loose batteries, so all of the partially used or open batteries, if you want to call them that, they are all in here as well at the front. And the way it's laid out is that you'll grab them first if you need to use the batteries. I've said it to my dad as well. I went through all the ones that were there with him. So one thing I discovered as well with this drawer, and it's going to come up relevant here, I don't know if the camera will show it very well, this drawer was absolutely, the bottom of it anyway, was chock full of dog hair. It was everywhere. I was like, how is there so much dog hair in here? It's a closed drawer, it's up off the floor, it's way higher than he is. Like, I don't sit him in this drawer or anything. So what I actually discovered was the 2 dog brushes that were in the drawer had been used, and they actually weren't cleaned out. So they've been used a couple. That's just a little bit of sticky something or another. It's like, that adhesive, that gluey stuff they use, like when you get a new bank card or whatever. It was like that was stuck to a piece of paper. Anyway, it's gone now. But so I discovered it was a load of dog hair, and then as I went through each of the baskets, there was more dog hair. So all of them were cleaned out. You will see me just shaking it out onto the floor. I did hoover the floor afterwards. Now, one decision I decided to make here was to take all of the COVID masks out, because they're not mandated anymore. We don't use them. We don't really wear them. Like, obviously, if one of us got COVID or whatever, we'd wear them, but they don't need to be in the junk drawer. The thing with them is, as well, is they float around all the baskets, and then they get caught under stuff, and then something gets tangled, and then you pull the COVID mask out. I'm even calling them COVID masks, which sounds so dramatic, but the fabric ones. You pull them out, and then everything comes out of the basket, and then you toss it all back in, and it's an absolute mess. You can see here, this was like, there's the brushes there, as mentioned. You can see there's one of the dog brushes, there's a second dog brush. It will appear that there's 3 brushes there. One of them was actually for our old cat. And when we originally got Max, I brushed that, washed it out, cleaned it really well, I had thought. But every time I went near him with it, he sniffed it, and he just wasn't a fan. So it's probably still to a dog's nose, smells like a cat. So, but honestly, I don't know why we didn't get rid of it. I think it was like, that theory of, oh, there's nothing wrong with it, and I'll figure out a way to use it, and I'll give it to this person. But sure, that time never came. So this basket here had shoelaces in it and elastic bands and measuring tapes and all that kind of malarkey. So here I'm just showing you there's the cat brush there, and there's all the different dog brushes. So in here I found a shoehorn, you know, those foam things that go under your seats, stop them scraping the floor. They're in there. There's some keys for the gas box. And then the laces. And it's just kind of, this is the kind of random nature of a drawer like this. And I think I like to have the boxes in here because it helps me to create a border and a boundary on the junk, which I know sounds weird, but it probably sounds a bit nuts. But the thing with this drawer is like, it's always ended up like this. I've tried doing many other things with this drawer, repurposing it, trying to find a different use for it, trying to, you know, move stuff in a different way. But what I always find is, because this drawer has been used pretty much like a junk drawer for, you know, realistically over half of my life, it keeps ending up that way. So I said, you know what, I'll get my clear little baskets like the one with the battery there, and I will use them in here. Now I have two small little square containers, I think, but I couldn't place them. You will see me at one stage walk off looking for them. I didn't find them. So what I've put into there basically is a couple of measuring tapes I have, some elastic bands. We've more elastic bands outside in the office, which I don't think you guys have ever seen The Office. Spoiler if you've made it this far, there will be a video on that coming at some stage. I'm not going to say soon because I'm not really sure, but I think it will be soon, but I'm not sure. You know, with the builder, and you know yourselves, lads. Anyway, so before I get off topic, if you guys want an update on that, let me know. I've probably given more updates and forgotten half of what I've said. But anyway, so you'll see me here just trying to connect I found another key for the gas box there. For anyone who's worried about where we store our gas box keys, if you don't have a similar thing for like the gas meter, in wherever area you live in the world, they're just universal here. It's a triangle. Everybody has them. Everyone has the same one. So it's not like someone's going to rob it. But yeah. But I'm just trying to kind of find some sort of order. Now you'll see me here, the hairbrushes were in that, or the dog brush should I say, were in that clear box, and then I took them out. And then I put all this stuff in. They're going to go back in there. Spoiler alert, they're going to go back in there. Because what I was doing is trying to create an aesthetically pleasing kind of layout in this plastic box, but there's so much little bits of random junk that just was not going to happen. And I was just taking up way too much room, trying to get this aesthetic look that I thought would look nice, hoping like, oh, well, maybe I'll be less stressed the next time I see this drawer. You know, the lies we tell ourselves. Anyway, but yeah, you can see here, I've like those few little bits I found. There's a nail clippers and like a fingernail clippers there. Now, some of you may say, why are they in your kitchen? That's really weird. And I would say, I agree with you. But you would not believe the number of times that someone has looked for them and used them when they were in the kitchen. Like not use them in the kitchen, but been in the kitchen. And the reason they're in here is because now I know where they are, and they're for downstairs. So I have like a little plug-in foot spa, little, you know, the little machine thingies. And like I use that if I'm giving myself a pedicure. Like you need the clippers, and you know, you have your little special foamy shampooy, whatever you call it, on the little foot spa and all the bits that go along with it. I'm not going to go into detail in case you're a person who has a phobia about that. And I don't want to make anybody feel unwell, but you know yourself anyway. But that's why they're down here. They're downstairs, should I say. Because that makes sense to me. It might not make sense to you, but it makes sense to me. Anyway, what I had to admit defeat with this drawer. I had to admit to myself, this drawer is not going to be aesthetically pleasing. It doesn't matter what I do, what way I organise it. There is no way to make this drawer realistic, usable and aesthetically pleasing. Because if it was up to me and how I would make it aesthetically pleasing, half of this stuff would go. And I'd find different homes for it. But a thing that I know of myself is I have a great idea for oh, if I can clear out all this, I can make this look amazing. But the fact of the matter is I don't want to keep, as they say, kicking it down the road. I don't want to keep kicking clutter down the road. I don't want to keep saying, oh, I'm going to take these items and put them in a box and I'm going to move them here. And I'm going to take these items from this room and put them in this box and kick them down here. And then you keep pushing it from room to room. And then you get to somewhere like the garage, or if it's your particular home, it could be your basement. It could be a shed. It could be your attic or loft or whatever you want to call it. And then you have a pile of boxes of stuff that you have nowhere to put. So I didn't want to end up in that situation. So as you can see here, I tried the hairbrushes, or the dog brush, should I say, in the small basket. They just won't fit. I can't even get, like, one of them just fit, but it was bending the end of it. So what I decided to do was put all this stuff back in. I admitted defeat. I said, right, this is not going to look aesthetically pleasing no matter what you do. So stop. And I think in some cases you have to let go of the aesthetic in order for it to be practical and functional. And with something like this, it's a drawer that's closed. So, like, it's not that big of a deal. Now, some of you may completely disagree with me, and that's absolutely fine. But to me, I have to, as they say, pick my battles and, pick the areas that I want to spend a lot of time in. And to be honest, I know there's no point in me spending a lot of time on this because it's a drawer that just gets messed up. It is as simple as that. Now, I had, as you can see, matches there. So I'm trying to really make this container fit as much as it can while still having everything accessible. I don't want stuff crammed in so that when I pull out one thing, everything comes out and it's a mess, because that to me completely undermines the point of the baskets. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm trying different configurations, and then I had to remind myself that the front of the drawer was at my left hand and not in fact facing me. So you'll see me there moving it around a lot. Now, one thing I did want to do was take this box out, but that wasn't going to happen. I didn't have another one. I thought I had another one of the square clear bins, but I didn't. I used it in the previous kitchen video in the medicine cabinet, medicine cupboard, press, whatever you want to call it. So I started to use that. Also, the brushes weren't going to fit into it. Just because I want stuff to be aesthetically pleasing and fit in places doesn't mean it's going to happen. And I think that's an important thing, that yes, you can have your aesthetic areas like your bookshelves, your, if you have a, what do you call them, dresser. I think in North America, you call them like a hutch, like a display hutch. Some people have them in their kitchens, or in your dining room or wherever. But like something like that, it's your display area. You're going to put your nice cookware on it, your nice maybe cups and spoons and, display plates and stuff like that. Because that stuff's going to be on display all the time. This drawer isn't. It's going to be closed. So I would much rather invest the time somewhere else and do something more productive, with my time, but also make this as functional as possible. Now, the further I get into this drawer, the more confusing the categories get. So you will see here, as soon as I put this in the drawer, I started to question the height of this. Because I was like, oh, clear the front, it will. And I could see there, it was maybe 1/4 of an inch, if not less, with the clearance on top of the drawer. And then I remembered there's actually a piece of wood just inside the drawer. Like that's the top of the frame. So there's a countertop sitting on it, so like that's not going to move. So I kind of said, look, that has to come out, it has to move. In case anybody's wondering what that is, that little pouch, it's for sanitizing the phones. We do use it, not all the time, but we do use it quite regularly. So I'm not the only person who uses it. That's why I don't want to put it in my room. So it's still in here for now, but it may get moved again later on. I did also have to reassess because I forgot to put the candles in. You'll see the Yankee candles there, on the bottom left of the drawer as you're looking at it. And again, I'm testing some configurations here. You'll notice that it jumped really quickly there. So unfortunately what happened was my camera died and I kept working because I didn't realise it had died. Well, not died, like it wasn't, the battery wasn't dead. There's like a limit on how long you can record for before it cuts off, and it had happened. It doesn't beep or anything. I'm usually pretty good at keeping an eye on it, But every so often I missed it, so I apologise. The camera was probably off for 30 seconds, if even maybe 15, so you didn't really miss anything. Now, this drawer here became ridiculous. There's the Scrub Daddy thing I was telling you guys about. These are all the accessories that came with my Dyson. I can't remember what that was there. Oh yeah, that was a little thing that came out that fell out the back of the drawer into the shelf. I believe it was like laces or something like that. I can't exactly remember. I also decided at this point to get the duster out because this is an area that, you know, gets very dusty. It's near the floor. This press is opened regularly for the iron and that kind of stuff. Also, what I noticed was when I pulled the drawer out, a lot of stuff, and I mean like dust and stuff, all that fell down the back. So I wanted to get that cleaned off because you shouldn't have to dust the iron every time you want to use it. So I actually managed to fit this on top. I'm going to go through it here now. There's the Scrub Daddy washing up liquid, the power paste. There's the duster, the Scrub Mommy that has the little stand for your sink, the wet duster, some Dish Daddy, their microfiber cloths, the Sponge Daddy, and that is the Scour Daddy. I think the Scour Daddy may be referred to as the Steel Daddy, I could be wrong, and that's the little, I can't think of the word, but you know what I mean, the container thingy that it came in, that I mentioned I think in last week's video. But that was that was part of the bundle I got. There was a couple of other bits, like I think a few more Scrub Mommies and the Dish Daddy, the actual handle. But anyway, there was a lot of dust in here. As you can see, that tub is open. So I wanted to just get the heavy stuff out, and this one was incredibly dusty because yes, the iron is taken out regularly, and the Scrub Daddy stuff is taken out, and I also have my refills for my flash mop and flash duster in here. They are pretty new refills, but they don't get taken out all that often. Obviously we use the Dyson, we use some of the heads more often than others, but this press just gets particularly dusty, and honestly it's difficult for me to get down to with the way my back is at the moment. But yeah, you can see there also that if anyone's wondering what that blue cloth is, we actually have a robot hoover, which I'm so grateful for. If any of you guys have seen Kira in the chat, she actually got a robot vacuum. She got 2 of them. She got a really good deal, and she was only using one, and she actually gave me one, and the one she gave me also has a mop feature. So I am so grateful and so delighted and so happy with that. I absolutely love it. I have it on most days. That's why the floors look a lot cleaner than they used to. But it's really, really good. I love it. But yeah, you'll see me here anyway going through. This press wasn't that much. It was just kind of finicky stuff had to come out, and I wanted to give it a good dust. There's the fire extinguisher. In case anybody ever wondered why we don't have a fire extinguisher in the kitchen, we do. Everyone, by the way, who's watching this, go check your fire extinguisher, your fire blanket. Everyone should have one. Very important in case anything ever happens. And always know where your fire extinguisher is. Like if you're staying in someone's house, find out where it is. Now, anyway, this is another miscellaneous. It's not really that miscellaneous, this press. It's basically birthday things like tin foil, or sorry, aluminium foil if you prefer. Bacon parchment. There's a couple of weighing scales. There's all the manuals for, you know, the machines, Dysons and slow cookers and all that jazz. And then beneath that is all of our Ziploc bags. I'm using the phrase Ziploc, not the brand. There might actually be one from the brand, I'm not sure. It's just there slightly to give you a better view. But you know those kinds of Ziploc bags. There's freezer bags. Most of them are IKEA, to be honest. I have this cool Lazy Susan that I actually found in the shed. And this is where it starts to go wrong. This was foreshadowing, although at this stage I did not realise. But as you can see here, like there is kind of a link between the items. But with miscellaneous items, again, it's like it gets pretty chaotic. It gets pretty crazy. There's an electric knife there. I'm not sure if that's been used in 10 years, but anyway, I am under strict orders to not get rid of it. And then we've a little chip cutter. If you're in America, you call them fries. It's a fry cutter. You put the potato in, it slices them into chips. We call them chips. And then I'm just run this over the duster as well. So one challenge I found with this press has been the same for so many years. I redid it there 2 or 3 years ago, I did do a video on that, and I like the new system, but there's still improvements that could be made. There was still stuff at the back of the press that I used regularly, which was quite annoying because when I wanted to use it, I had to empty the whole press. So I tried to kind of bear in mind what I use regularly, when I use it, how I use it, and try and adjust with that in mind. So I had a notion here. Now this is where it all goes wrong. There you go. Right there, the tin foil. There we go, shaking it off, went flying out of the press. And what's below the press, of course? Only Max's bowl of water. And of course I had just filled it. Just moments earlier, filled it so it splashed. It went all up the cupboards, on the wall, all over the floor. I started sliding all over the floor. So that was fun. Twisted my back a little bit. Didn't love that. But yeah, that's how it do be sometimes. In case anybody's wondering why I didn't get the mop, I put some towels down to soak up the water. There was a lot of water there, and I wanted to keep going with this. So this is our birthday tub. We had the number candles, like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we had all the little small candles. And also a lot of the bags were full of air. So I kind of measured that up. Will that fit? Yes, it will. And then what I did was I moved all of the number candles and all of the regular candles into one bag. And I did what I should have done the last time, which was push all the air out of them, which I do forget to do, because then it becomes really hard to get them into like a box and stuff. But like you can see, they're much flatter, much neater. I think a reason a lot of them are in the smaller bags, those like little red bags, I think that's all we had left. I think we were running low when I was doing it. But as you can see there, I have the much larger bags now from IKEA, the green ones. And this bag I have here is like our little bag for the ones we can reuse. Some of them can be reused depending on what we use them for. You know, they're safe to be reused. They are plastic. I try to avoid single-use plastic, but with stuff like that, I want to get as much use out of it as I can. You may also see somewhere along here, there's a red topped, like a really dark red, kind of it's clear, but it's more opaque bag. It looks like vegetables in it. That's actually a silicone Ziploc bag, so it's completely reusable every time, as many times as you want. Keep washing it and washing it. I've one there. I believe I've another one. I think it might be in the freezer, and I think I put it in the freezer to test it. And then I also have some sandwich bags there that are foil lined, and they can be used again and again and again. So I am trying to slowly move over to reusable, reduce and avoid single waste plastic where I can, because it really is, it's so wasteful. But anyway, and I know some people absolutely have to use it. Now what's happening here with the camera is there's a lot of white, and my camera can't handle white. There's too much light, it doesn't know what to do. You'll see me here now readjusting and trying to move that and shift that. Now if that little box had fit on top of that other box, I would have left it there. I tried to pop it in there, wasn't happening. It was like maybe there, and then I realised I hadn't put the rolling pins back in, so that made the decision for me. But yeah, a lot of this here you can see is reshuffling and rejigging and reorganising and moving, and that's one thing I would always say. If you're reorganising and decluttering somewhere, don't be afraid to redo it 5 times. I feel like, some people are of the opinion that if they don't get it right at the start, that they're doing it wrong, and they're just like, I'm not going to do it again, I'm terrible at it, I don't know what I'm doing, etc. But, give it a turn, give it a try. Now, one thing I will say is this section, the last section, the drawer and the cabinet, and then the next one I'm going to do are not the most aesthetically pleasing. I'm not going to sit here and say they are, because they're not. The last one is not bad. It's not bad. But you can see here that's just me stacking the Lazy Susan trays because they kept sliding off, and it's not in use at the moment. And I have a better use. There you go. You can see I've put it in there, and I put in the bags on top of it. And that's also for storage, but also because it means I can turn them to see what size they are. But anyway, what I'm saying is this is not the most aesthetically pleasing, but it is really functional. And the way I've reorganised it now makes it so that I can access everything I need to access. There's also a box there you'll see at the front on the top shelf in the middle, they are all disposable cutlery. Now, I don't use disposable cutlery. They have been there for absolute years. And what I'm going to do is, there's a couple of people I know who would probably use them. You know, we have them for parties and stuff like that. But even then, I'd be more inclined just to use the cutlery we have. But we have a couple there, and you know, as I told you previously, we do coffee mornings every year. So they can be good for that, like the spoons and stuff. So we need to go through that box and see what's in it at a later date. But for right now, it's fine. It's absolutely fine where it is. That there is a little stand I got. I think I showed you guys previously. It actually holds, it sticks to the counter, and it holds open Ziploc bags for you, so you can fill them. It's really, really handy. Now you can see here the slightest little adjustment, I got that in, it's out of the way. I can still access everything I want to access. But that is something I will be querying, letting go of, or passing on to somebody else. The box of cutlery, may I add, not the little stand. That little stand is great. It was really, like, I think it was like $1.50 or something I paid for it. It was so cheap. So I've now reached the bit where I need to get into this bottom press, and in order to do that, I need to kneel on the floor, which, as previously mentioned, the water went all over. You'll see it on the door there. You probably saw it before I wiped it. His food, his little bits, he'd left some kibble in his bowl that's soaked. The floor is soaked. The cabinets are, you'll see me wiping down the cabinets there, there's water all over them. The skirting board, the wall, baseboard. Either is what you might call the skirting board. I'm just generally cleaning up the floor. I think I previously mentioned these are wood floors. They're not laminate, they're actual wood. So I need to clean the stuff, and I can't leave it sitting on it. Now you see here, this isn't a particularly bad press. Now that box that slid out, that annoys me. But don't worry, I'll get to it. But it's just like little things, and I was like, oh, it's fine, I'll leave it. Will I leave it? No, I won't leave. I can't deal with it. And then it's like, see, even the way like the boxes, one's off to the side and one's in the middle, that was annoying me. And I said, you know what? I have my trusty handy duster. If I do nothing else, I'm going to give it a trusty handy dust. So I went through this and I picked out a couple of items to let go of. I finally got my little fruit storage box. I didn't really give you a great view of that. If you guys want to see that again, I can show it to you. Then it's just kind of trying to make this cabinet functional. As you can see, it's a really deep cabinet because it's the depth of the oven. But it's just a weird one. Like, I have the glass containers there on the left, and ideally what I would love to do is replace all the plastic with them. But they're quite pricey, and it's not something that's going to happen overnight. Now, could I go in and spend a load of money? Well, not obviously now, but you know, I could save up over time and go in and spend a pile of money on them. But at the end of the day, the plastic boxes, we've a lot of them. They are functional. We do use them. Also, they're easy to take care of. This lunchbox here is gone. I've decided to let that go. I didn't even tell you guys half the stuff in the junk drawer I let go. There was so many batteries that were out of date and expired. There was loads of broken elastic bands. There was loads of little like paper clips and random little bits that I got rid of. And you can, I'm sorry if you can hear the sirens in the background. There's about 5 ambulances, I'd say, and a load of police cars gone down the road near me. But yeah, going in here, there really wasn't much. As you guys just saw there, the cutlery. I didn't even know that cutlery was in there. I even had a discussion with my dad about it, and I was like, how about this? If you can't tell me where it was stored, we'll get rid of it because we never use it. And he didn't even need to. He's like, get rid of it, it's fine, we're going to donate it. There's the little fruit, you know, the divider things. I think they're brilliant. They're new in the house. They've been used once. We're getting used to it. Anyway, this press didn't need too much done to it, just a quick dust, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. It looks much better. It's much more organised, and I can now see everything in it, and everything I want is right at the front of it. Okay guys, so that is the end of today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate it if you hit the like button down below. If you want to see more, you can go visit my channel or hit the subscribe button down below. If you have any questions, queries, any more information you'd like, anything you want to know, drop it in the comments down below and I will answer it as best as I can. So I'm really happy to say now, I can officially say it this time, the top kitchen is done. Finally, it's finished. And I think if you actually walked in and saw this room, you wouldn't understand why it took me so long. But that junk drawer and the press underneath it, or the cabinet if you prefer, underneath it, this one here above me, above the oven, and the one below, these less so, but especially that junk drawer, they're full of little tiny, finicky little items and all that kind of thing, and like just weird shaped stuff and stuff that doesn't really match or go together. And if some of you are wondering like, why did I put that with that and this with that and that with the other and whatever, it's because that drawer is very difficult to organise, because it's just like electronics and there's batteries and there's candles and there's laces and rubber bands and blah 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 blah. And I think, as I've mentioned before on the channel, I don't get veto on where everything goes, so I'm kind of trying to make the best I can work, essentially. But we got rid of a good few bits out of it, so I'm happy. Like, it's not a huge amount, do you know what I mean? But I'm happy with where it came from, because they were like, the drawer was a really small space and that cabinet really didn't have much in it. And like, when you come to places like this and this, they're kind of, the stuff's been there for years, and it's kind of just readjusting it to refit it into the space that it's in. So bearing that in mind, I'm so sorry if you can hear that Dyson in the background. Nothing I can do about it, I'm afraid. I have tried. But anyway, I'm going to wrap up here. I'm not going to waffle on because you're not going to be able to hear me in a minute anyway if that Hoover keeps going. But yeah, I'm really happy with how today turned out. I'm glad that top kitchen is finally finished. I'm glad these two are done, because again, these are like super finicky kind of place with all the weird shaped stuff and the big stuff and the small stuff and, you know, just weird things and objects. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I want to wrap up and say that we'll be back very soon with more of the most extreme declutter ever kitchen series. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, a fantastic weekend and a wonderful week ahead, and I will talk to y'all soon. Okay, love y'all, bye.